Today is what we're going to be showing you is this bearing disc brake assembly, and we're going to be showing you how to pull it apart and how to reassemble it correctly. Now the first thing we'll be doing during this particular setup is we'll be removing the tyre from the axle itself. So imagine the tyre, removing that. Second thing we'll be doing is taking the actual caliper off the disc brake assembly. Then after that, move the disc away onto the ground so everything's nice and safe. That means we get a clear shot of taking the oil seal and all the bearings off. Now inside the oil bearing cap there will be a split pin, a nut, washer and several bearings, mainly two, with a couple of seals. Now we'll go through all that as we disassemble it. Now we've removed the nuts from the disc, now we'll take the actual caliper off. Now we have the 13mm socket which goes into the back of the long bolt that holds the caliper on. Now we'll disassemble that. Now that should just simply come off nice and easily. Now we've removed the stainless steel brake caliper. Now on a trailer you'll have your hose on it, so support the hose. Okay? And then what we do after that is now we remove the actual disc itself, which should just slide off like this. Now we've got the stainless steel vented disc rotor. Now we're off. And now what we'll do from here is now we'll go and look at disassembling the oil hub system. Now what we've got here is the oil hub assembly. Now on top of the oil hub assembly there is a little nut. We have to undo the nut first, turn it around and drain the oil into a bucket or some sort of catchment that can catch all the oil. And then what we'll do is we'll pull the rubber mallet out and then we'll knock the actual cap off, and we'll just show you that in a minute. Right, now what we're doing is undoing the actual screw. We've just pulled it off, and it's got a little plastic washer under it for the seal. Now what we'll do is we'll just turn it around until the oil starts slowly coming out. Now what to do is there's also a bung at the back of the axle here. We'll undo that to allow the oil to flow out. Now what we'll do is we've got the rubber mallet, and all we've got to do is just hit this, nice and easy. You don't have to smash it, just nice and easy, and it'll slowly come off so we can get into the bearings. Now what we're doing, we're just quickly knocking it off, and there it is, it's out. Now we've got access to our split pin, our nut, and we've also got the washer and then the bearings. Now in saying that, there will be always oil left over from when we've drained it. But always have a bucket underneath to catch all the oil, a couple of rags, good to go. Now we've removed the actual pin, the safety pin, out of the actual nut. We'll just get a shifter, and it shouldn't be too tight. There we go, just like that. And what we do from there is just simply undo it. A little bit sticky, so we just use the shifter and we'll keep on turning it until it actually comes up. Drop it in again into the bucket that you got below that holds the oil, a little bit of oil, so you can't lose the nuts and bolts. Then we've got this, you may need a screwdriver or something just to pull out. It's a little bit slippery, I'll get a screwdriver. Just want to show you. Now what we'll do, just put our thumb on there, give it a quick pull, and next minute the whole hub and everything will come out in your hand, where we'll have the washer, and we'll have bearings, the cone inside, and of course on the opposite side we have our seal, and this can be replaced at any time you want. Simple as that. Right, now what we're going to do is remove the old seal and put a new seal on. It's very simple. You just get a tie iron like this or a bar and just slide in underneath and it should just pop out. And it won't pop out because it's such a good seal. Right, now what we've done, we've actually broken the seal now. Now we've got the old seal off, and it doesn't matter if you damage it because it's a throwaway item. So straight into the bin and get rid of it. Now we have a brand new one that we've pulled out of the packet, and all we do is we quickly check the bearing and make sure it's absolutely in perfect condition, as I expected with the oil hubs, like brand new. Then what we do is we put the seal back in, nice and simply. We get a flat plate like this. We put over the top of the seal. The reason we do that, so when we knock the seal in, we have an equal surface to push the rubber seal back into the actual bearing housing itself. Just something to remember. Now as we're just finishing, we just knocked it all in. Perfect. That's why we have the flat plate. Now that's in a beautiful position now. It's all equal to everything. And now we get ready to reassemble the whole lot, because we've already checked out all the bearings. The bearings are in absolutely mint condition. Right, now what we're going to do is now assemble the setup. Now that we have a brand new seal on the back of it, when you put it in onto the axle, just take your time, a little bit of time, and it will go in nice and smoothly. Now at the back of the axle here is where the seal goes onto a step. Just take your time and push it on, and then it'll come on nice and properly, and you know the seal is 100%. Then what we do, we put the next bearing in, and we've also checked out, of course, and it just goes in nicely like that, beautifully. Then we've got the locking washer, which goes in. It has a keyway on the shaft, like that, and we just push it on like that. Beautiful. Then we take our nut, because we've inspected our nut to make sure it's no cracks or anything in there. And what we do is we do it up, just like this. Sometimes the threads may be a bit sticky. We do it up, now we get our spanner and we'll tension the actual nut up. Now what we do is we've got the spanner on it and we tighten it up until it's firm, then we back it back off, and then we do that once or twice until we get a nice happy, it's not too tight and it's not completely loose at all. And we'll make sure that we've got the room here like that, so it's nice, pretty much perfect now. It's not overly tight and it's not free loose, because if it's too loose it can cause big problems, and if it's too tight it'll even cause a worse problem. But if you're not sure, make sure you go to your specialist like at Transtyle trailers, and they'll come and service the bearings for you. Now we'll get the split pin and we'll put the split pin back in, and we'll bend the split pin off so the nut and everything doesn't come off. Okay, now what we're going to do is put the split pin in. It's quite simple. A split pin has two ends to it, one shorter than the other. Make sure that the longer one is to the outside, and I'll show you why. Now just get your split pin, you put it in the hole, you pull it right through. If you've done it correctly, the pin will just drop straight in. Works very well. Now the reason they're two different ends, so you can get it. Now these are stainless steel split pin, and it can be a little bit hard. So what we do is get a hammer out and we just bend it over, just like that, and then we'll get the second one. Now do the same thing again. Now, we'll probably have maybe a better way of doing it. That's the way we like to do it here at Transtyle Trailers. And This is only for a demonstration only purpose. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of sealant around the outside, and now we're going to put our famous oil hub over the top of it. Let me show you how. Now what we're going to do is we've got our sealant, and we run a little bit of sealant around. We don't need a lot, it doesn't have to swim in it. Just a little bit around the outside of it, and then we'll get the rubber seal, and then we'll knock it on. Let me show you how. There we go. Now what we'll do, we'll just run our finger around it and make sure it's a nice even coat. Now remembering, make sure you've got a nice bit of clean rag so you can wipe off the excess. Now what we'll do is we'll knock that on, and it pretty much goes straight on. You can hit it on in a lot of cases with your hand, but what we'll do is we'll just pick up the rubber mallet and we'll just give it a light tap in. No steel hammers, please. And we'll just knock it in nice and firm like that, and that's all you got to do. And then what we do, we'll just get our clean rag and we'll just wipe all the mess off, just like that. Sometimes it can be a little bit sticky and a little bit yucky, but a couple of clean rags is the answer. When you have mess, it means you sealed it good. Just nice and clean, give it a rub, give it a clean, all good to go. Just like that. Doesn't matter if you've got a little bit on the outside. Nice and clean. Now we've got our hole for at the top for our oil. Now we get the oil out and we fill it up about halfway, and the job is done. So let us get the oil and we'll show you next. Now the oil we're using is 85-140. It's just a normal gearbox oil, and what we're going to do is fill it up approximately halfway. So it's simple, we just go straight in like so, and we just take our time. As you can see, if we walk around, you'll see we're just slowly filling it up. All up. Now please remember that when you do fill this up to halfway, you'll need to take it for a little drive, because sometimes the oil's got to fill up the rest of the hub assembly and it may drop. You may have to put a little bit of extra oil in it just after a bit of a drive. And the best part about seeing this is if it does get water in it, the water turns the oil milky colour, so you'll know straight away we've got to change the oil or a seal may have failed. Now seals are not the 100%, some of them do fail, yes, but it's good to see the window on the front and the oil change. Now I'll just grab the little nut, we'll just put the little nut on. It's very simple, just like that. We'll grab our shifter, we'll just adjust it to suit, and again we don't need to overly tighten this, just a bit of a nip, just so it's nice and firm, and our job is done. Give it a bit of a wipe. Now we'll reassemble the disc and the caliper in just a moment. Okay, now we have our disc brake. We've checked it out, it's in perfect condition. So we just put that on, line up the studs like that, and we just put it back on, nice and simple. Now if you want, you can get a nut. We'll just grab a couple here. If you want, just to hold it in place for the point of argument, just do it up, make things nice and easy. I'll just grab the rattle gun. It's around the wrong way, yes I do know that. Just change sockets, like that. Nice little rattle gun. Just nice and quick and easy, just so we can mount the caliper. Okay, now we've got it on, we just push the bolts in and we start doing them up. One there, there should be one just here. Now we'll get the hammer drill, or I shouldn't say hammer drill, the drill and the socket, and now we'll do it up. Now what we're going to do, use the drill, not the hammer drill, the drill. And what we're going to do is just put it on, bang, we are done. That's how easy it is at Transtyle trailers. That's how we do it for a lot of customers. And everything is now in perfect condition for another, who knows how many kilometres, another 20,000 k's, 10,000 k's, depending on what you're doing. Anyway, hope this is good. Hope you've learned something from Transtyle trailers. And for any information, just simply go to the website. Cheers.